Okay, hello and welcome to another tier list. Today I'm going to be looking at Skyrim factions slash guilds, and I must say I'm very excited to be talking about Skyrim. It's the next game I'll be reviewing in my trophy list series, and I'm very much looking forward to that as well because Skyrim is one of my favorite games of all time, and so I have much more to talk about than just a trophy list. The game itself is vast and wonderful, and just being able to talk about even the factions makes me happy. So let's get started with the Dawn Guard. Obviously, part of the Dawn Guard DLC, famous for training trolls and being vampire hunters. Obviously, you choose between the Dawn Guard and another faction on this list when you participate in this DLC, and it can be a tough choice because there are some likable characters in both. However, I think I went with the Dawn Guard the first time, and the only time I did this DLC, which might be why my knowledge of it is a little sparse, because I've only done this DLC once. I played through the base game many times, but I didn't do Dawn Guard that many times, which I kind of regret. I should do it again. But, so I'm going to be a little bit sparse on the Dawn Guard information, but they're a B tier, mainly because they're a DLC guild. If they were like a base game guild, they'd be A. But because they're DLC, obviously it's put down DLC. We don't like DLC, so you get marked down for that. And obviously, if I could remember the characters of it better, then they'd probably be S. Because if I can't remember the characters all that well, they weren't that interesting. Although they were interesting enough for me to remember some details about them. Next up, we have the Thieves Guild. Well, I go to Riften every time just so I can get involved in the Thieves Guild. I mean, there's so many interesting quests, so much you can do. Obviously, you have the repeatable quests, which can be quite fun, especially if you enjoy the Thieves Guild stuff, but which I don't particularly. I remember taking a whole Sunday, just to get to to be the Thieves Guild master, doing all those repeatable quests over and over again. That was quite fun. I mean, the main quest line is quite fun. It's quite funny how you get involved with them, and yeah, the area that they're in is quite cool. The fact you have to go through the tunnels in the sewers, and you have to defeat a bunch of enemies to get there. It's quite interesting. The twist is quite interesting. And the two characters alongside you that get involved with the Nightingales, which isn't on this list, but I guess that's part of the reason the Thieves Guild is S tier, is because the Nightingales exist, are also really cool. There we go. And so next up we have the College of Winterhold, which is also basically the Mages Guild. I'm not a huge fan of mages, so my rating of them is going to be lower than someone who loves mages, but the area that they're in is quite cool. The fact that Winterhold itself is mostly destroyed, but the college stands intact. Obviously, you find the orb in. I can't remember it. But you find the orb. The Eye of Magnus. There you go. I still don't remember where you find it in, but it's a old Norse ruin, and I cannot remember its name for the life of me. You also find one of the Three Brothers, which is one of my favorite quest lines, but that's besides the point. Because that's not really in the Winterhold quest line. So so being the Master Wizard, you do have to fight a Dragon Priest, which is quite fun and interesting. Obviously, going through Labyrinthian is actually quite interesting. Just because you do Labyrinthian for it, I'm putting it in B. And I like some of the trainers, like the old guy that you first meet. He's quite cool. Underneath it, you've got the whole area that is really interesting. It just feels very underused because there's a potential for a lot of stuff down there. You can summon Atronax, I think it is, and you have the pirate, the Drugger pirate that quest line down there. But then there's a lot of unused things with the College of Winter Horde. I think that's why it's held back. Like there's the five trainee mages who went missing. You can find each of them having an item, but you can never complete the quest line because it never got actually added in. But it would have been nice. As I say, with it underneath, it feels like there's much more potential for that area. They just never used it. So unfortunately, it's going to be a beta, and now we're going to move on to the Empire. I never side with the Empire. I must say I'm a Stormcloak. Mainly because I love Ulfric. But and oh my god, how can I not remember his name? Anyway, that's besides the point. Maybe I'll remember his name by the time we get to Stormcloaks. Why can't I remember anyone's name? This is terrible of me. But anyway, for the glory of the Empire. Yeah, so I never really side with the Empire, so I don't particularly know any of the characters. I just don't like the Empire because, well, the Empire sucks, okay? The story of the Empire is cool, and, you know, what they're trying to hold is cool, but the way they do it I don't particularly like. Being, like, the pact with the Eldameri, the White Gold Concordat. Yes, yeah, I remember that, but I don't remember people's names. Cool, man. So I don't particularly have much to say, other than boo, Empire sucks. The Companions A tier. I like the Companions, however they do suffer from being under-fleshed out in ways. There's a lot of just side characters in the Companions. Obviously there's going to be side characters in the Companions. The backstory to it's really cool. I like how you find Ysgramor's son, Ingol's Barrow, although there's some stuff that doesn't make sense in ESO, but still. Ingol's Barrow, yeah, so that's like really cool how you can find his son, and you know that lends to the backstory of the Companions and how they lost his two sons. But it's strange because, you know, even the main characters of the Companions, most of them aren't fleshed out that well, and it just feels like maybe it's a little undervalued, this with questline. It maybe needed like one or two more quests to make it just a little bit better and more enjoyable for me to play. Although Ysgramor's hammer is pretty cool. And the last area that you go to, his tomb with all the ghosts of the Companions, is quite interesting. However, it is marked down because there is a giant frostbite spider. Fuck those. They can get the fuck out of here. Never again. And I mean, it is cool how they turn into werewolves, but I also don't know how you're kind of forced into being a werewolf. Oh, but I do really like the blacksmith. Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. Alright, let's move on to the Stormcloaks, which is going to be a C, because unfortunately, the Civil War quest lines are just so underwritten. Not underwritten, but just underwhelming. There you go. Because it's like, oh, you siege a city, then you do the same thing again, and then you do the same thing again. It's like, oh, well, I've done this 3 times already. Why am I meant to enjoy this the 4th time? You know, it's cool the first city, you know, like Whiterun, quite fun. But by the time I get to Solitude, I'm like, well, this is just boring. Because the guards don't really mean shit to me, so why should I feel threatened? And as such, the Civil War questline is probably the weakest questline out of all of them. Still fun though, learning about the Stormcloaks. You've got Ulfric's right-hand man, who's quite cool. You've got the guy you escaped Helgen with, who I cannot for the life of me remember his name. Begins with an R. I want to say Rodolph, but that's wrong. I'm pretty sure, because that just sounds like Rudolph. And yeah, so the Stormcloaks are only slightly better than the Empire, but not by that much. Now, the Bard's College is D, because you go around collecting a few things and then you're done. There's not much to do with it. It's like, it's there, but yeah, it's there. That is the most accurate description of the Bard's College you will ever find. It's just there. You know, you don't really get much for doing it, but it's just a fun enough questline. You know, it's you do it rather than you don't do it, kind of thing. Now, the Dark Brotherhood, another S tier, absolutely wonderful questline. Destroying the Dark Brotherhood can be quite fun, but come on, you gotta just be a member of the Dark Brotherhood and complete all those quests. Going to the abandoned shack outside Solitude is quite fun to begin with. Obviously, Lucien LeChance, being the original perpetrator, is also quite... Lucien LeChance? That's the wrong person. That's the guy from Oblivion, isn't it? Oh no. The little kid is quite fun. And, you know, having to kill whatever her name is. God, I can't remember. But she's something the happy, I'm pretty sure. Which is the opposite, because it's irony. And then it culminates with you killing the Emperor, but there's some fun quests, like there's the crashing the wedding. Do I remember any others? Yes, there's killing... Was it killing a pirate? Was that part of the Brotherhood? It could be a different questline entirely. There's a lot of questlines, okay, it's easy to get them mixed up, but I still love it, and honestly, it doesn't matter if that's not part of it, because honestly, the crashing the wedding one itself is probably good enough to put this in S. Killing the Emperor as well is good enough to put this in S. All of this is just so good, and I really, if you're playing Skyrim, you need to do the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood, and then probably the Companions. The other ones, yeah, I probably still do, but just don't expect as much from them. And then the Vampire Clan can also go in B, because it's similar to the not the college, the Dawn Guard. In that it's DLC, and it probably would be A if it was higher. I'm just not a huge fan of being a vampire, so for me, I'd rather be Dawn Guard than the Vampire Clan, but it's still a good enough clan if you want to partake in it. And it has some fun quests. Same as Dawn Guard, really. They're similar to each other. Obviously, they're mirrors of each other in their DLC, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be the same. I mean, Stormcloaks and Imperials, like Stormcloaks are, in terms of like story, are a lot better than Imperial, but it's still not great. But these two, this one's better than this one. It probably could be an A while this one's a B, or this one could be a C while this one's a B. But I think putting them two in the same tier is about fair. Alright, that's going to be it for today's video. I know it was a bit rambly, and I didn't particularly say much cool information. I would definitely be happy to go deeper into some of these factions if anyone asks me to, but that is going to be it for today's video. Let me know your opinions in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Peace.